What's wrong with my camera? Hold on, y'all. Hold on before I bring YouTube live up here. Wait a minute, this looks blurry. I think it's gonna come on blurry. Hold on, let me see. That's weird. Okay, let's stop it before I even start it. Welcome, Facebook. Let me try this again. I never seen that happen. Thought my camera lens is dirty or something. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, that's better. All right. I'm not sure what was happening with it. Okay. Trina, hey girl, hey. Which color I want. Hi everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We in another month. It is August the 1st, 2021. Day 221 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 3-year consecutive day count. We are on day 890. 890. Today we're reading Jeremiah 43, 44, and 45. Then we're going to pick up a Fossilized Customs where we left off at on page 271. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get started with the Shema right here. I gotta answer a question for somebody. I'm gonna see if they pop in because I said I would answer for them today if I ain't do a separate video. So Kirk, if you're here, let me know you're here before I get started. I'm gonna go ahead and answer your question about Isaiah 19 and 20. If not, I'll wait to the end. Let's see. Shayla, hey girl, hey. All right, y'all. The Shema here. Therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the Elohim of our fathers, has promised us, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. That means always and forever. And Yahuwah commanded us to do these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay, Joy also asked me a question in the email. I think about it every time I read it. I haven't responded to her question. I did respond to her, but I didn't respond to all of the questions yet, although I gave her some. Tony, shalom. She asked about the word Elohim, because Elohim is a plural word, although we know that E is not in the original Hebrew language. It's actually A, which is why we say Elohim. But Elohim is still actually plural. It's actually Elua, but it just sounds weird to me. You know, it's still a general term, just like God is. So it's like you're going to either use the Hebrew term or you're going to use the English term, or just forego it all together and just use Yahuwah's name, right? I had even thought about Um, if I was to say it in it like the singular form, it would be, like I said, it would be allure. Or if you read it like in the Sefer, it says the Sefer is Eloah, but it's actually allure, right? So it would be Yahuwah or allure. It rhymes. That's what my kids say. Oh shoot, what happened? Oh man, YouTube went out. YouTube went out. How about the class today? Go to the exam. I'm the one of 5 years. What? She got coronavirus today. Y'all, hold on. I'm gonna have to start YouTube over. That's what's crazy is it's been plugged in all night and it just went off. It's like completely charged. Y'all, I still ain't got my. I still ain't got my what you call it. Hold on. I know my text about to start coming through. I'm gonna start it over. Sheesh. But anyway, Elohim is actually still the plural of Elohim. We're going to correct that. Make sure we're not mixing singular and plural terms when we're referring to Yahuwah. The cases are rising in Florida. Yeah, I bet. All I'm going to say is keep yourself healthy. Make sure you eat a lot of fruits and veggies. Fast. Fasting will kick out anything in your body. Water fasting will. You can juice fast too, but water fast is the most potent. Hold on, let me bring them back on. Hold on, y'all. I'm glad this happened like right before I started the reading. Hold on. Restore. That sucks. See if it'll restore to the live stream. I think it's just gonna still be buffering. Yep. Check for the text. Yeah, I know. Let me respond. Okay, let me end this session. Sorry, y'all. Cancel. And okay. Okay. So operator error here. We got to plug it back in, but who would have thought that that would have ended it? I'm sorry, y'all. That's my fault. Let's go to the studio. I'm sorry. I'm pulling this together. Dashboard. Show me the content. Okay. Okay. Let's delete this one forever. Okay. So we can get this going. Okay. Now I'm about to start it over. Okay, I'm this one. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties. Okay, let's try this again. Sorry, y'all. Okay. All right. How many minutes am I on Facebook? I had to do it later with the time. Okay. So this morning's video on YouTube will not have the shimmer. Sorry. And I actually just deleted the other one. It started buffering. It actually cut off because I forgot to plug it back in. My fault. Operator error. Right? But we already did the shimmer. I'm not going to do it again. So, yeah, we're back. Sorry, y'all. I forgot to plug it in and it died like real quick, but it's fully charged. It's my MacBook is just old. I've had it for a while, and I've been need to upgrade, but I'm not yet. You know, I'm just not yet. Get all the little life out of it. Okay, y'all. Jatina, shalom, shalom. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and start with our reading for today, Jeremiah chapter 43. Like if you just get here, we already did the Shema. And if you were here before the video died, you were actually here for the Shema before it started buffering. So I'm not gonna do it again. I'll pull this up. Let me see. I'm gonna ask again before I get started. Kurt, you here? I want to answer your question about Isaiah chapter 19 and 20 that you asked me before we get started. If not, I'll check again. I'll check again when we're done. He asked a question Friday when we were here. Asked me to explain Isaiah chapter 19 and 20. It's fairly easy. You just got to read it all in its context, and you can actually see Yahuwah repeating some of the same stuff in Amos. And he was actually calling out all the nations. All right, you're not here, so let's go ahead and get started. Jeremiah chapter 43. Jeremiah is taken to Egypt. When Jeremiah had finished giving this message from Yahuwah, their God, to all the people, Azariah, son of Hoshiah, and Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the other proud men said to Jeremiah, "You lie. Yahuwah, our God, hasn't forbidden us to go to Egypt." Okay. Quick recap. Matter of fact, the reading that Kurt asked me to explain actually kind of goes with a little bit of this. Okay, so when we were here Friday, remember, they had already been exiled to Babylon, right? They had already been exiled to Babylon. Some of them got away. When they found out that Gedaliah was ruling, he was like a righteous heathen ruler that Nebuchadnezzar had left in charge of Judah, right? And the provinces. So they was like, okay, Gedaliah, he cool? Okay, we coming back then, right? So when they got back, and then Ishmael and his men killed Gedaliah, and they kind of took over things. The people that had fled but had returned, they was about to flee again, right? And they called for Jeremiah. And they said, Jeremiah, tell us what Yahuwah says, whether we should go or whether we should stay, and whatever he tell us to do, that we will do, right? Otherwise, we about to head out of here. We about to get out of here. We about to kick rocks. We head back to the mountains. Some of us going to go to Egypt, right? And so Jeremiah gave them the message. He went to Yah. He prayed about it. Yahuwah gave him a message. So 10 days later, he gave them the message. He said, look, y'all stay here. I know that they killed Gedaliah, and Ishmael and them is now ruling, but don't worry about it. You stay here, submit to the orders that King Nebuchadnezzar passes down to them, and all will be well. I'm going to watch over you. At least you'll get to stay in your homes. You get to plant your fields and reap from the land and everything. He said, but stay here. He said, because now if you run, you're going to be killed, right? Remember, it's 4 things always waiting for the rebellious ones, right? War, famine, disease, and if those 3 don't catch you, captivity will, right? And if you make it to captivity and then you flee from captivity, them 3 are still waiting on you. It never ends, right? So Jeremiah had just given a message, right? And so that's where we are today. So I read it over since we're on verse 2. When Jeremiah had finished giving this message from Yahuwah, their God, to all the people, Azariah, son of Hoshai, and Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the other proud men said to Jeremiah, you lie. Yahuwah, our God, hasn't forbidden us to go to Egypt. Baruch, son of Neriah, has convinced you to say this because he wants us to stay here and be killed by the Babylonians or be carried off into exile. So Johanan and the other military leaders and all the people refused to obey Yahuwah's command to stay in Judah. Johanan and the other leaders took with them all the people who had returned from the nearby countries to which they had fled. In the crowd were men, women, and children, the king's daughters, and all whom Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had left with Gedaliah. The prophet Jeremiah and Baruch were also included. The people refused to obey the voice of Yahuwah and went to Egypt, going as far as the city as Taphanes. Then at Taphanes, Yahuwah gave another message to Jeremiah. He said, "While the people of Judah are watching, take some large rocks and bury them under the pavement stones at the entrance of Pharaoh's palace here in Taphanes. Then say to the people of Judah, this is what Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. I will certainly bring my servant Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, here to Egypt. I will set his throne over these stones that I have hidden. I will spread his royal canopy over them, and when he comes, he will destroy the land of Egypt. He will bring death to all those destined for death, captivity to those destined for captivity, and war to those destined for war. He will set fire to the temples of Egypt's gods. He will burn the temples and carry the idols away as plunder. He will pick clean the land of Egypt as a shepherd picks fleas from his cloak, and he himself will leave unharmed. He will break down the sacred pillars standing in the temple of the sun in Egypt, and he will burn down the temples of Egypt's gods." Jeremiah chapter 44. Well, I tell you, hard-headed regents don't listen. Judgment for idolatry. This is the message Jeremiah received concerning the Judeans living in northern Egypt in the cities of Migdol, Taphanes, and Memphis, and in southern Egypt as well. This is what Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. You saw the calamity I brought on Jerusalem and all the towns of Judah. They now lie deserted and in ruins. They provoke my anger with all their wickedness. They burn incense and worship other gods, gods that neither they nor any of your ancestors had ever even known. Remember, that's always been the recurring, repeating message that Yahuwah always gives to his people, right? If Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not worship them, any gods that they didn't worship, the faithful ones, whoever they worship, you are to worship. Not anybody descending from them, not anybody called their son. You only worship the God that they worship, which is me, right? I don't care if I send y'all a prophet, somebody here, somebody there. You do not worship them. You worship me alone, right? That's the big thing. If some of my people can't let go, they still worshiping everybody else but Yahuwah. Or they mixing him. They're thinking he more than one, and that's not the case. They provoke my anger with all their wickedness. They burn incense and worship other gods, gods that neither they nor you or any of your ancestors had ever known. Again and again, I sent my servants, the prophets, to plead with them. Don't do these horrible things that I hate so much. But my people would not listen or turn back from their wicked ways. They kept on burning incense to these gods. And so my fury boiled over and fell like fire on the towns of Judah and into the streets of Jerusalem, and they are still a desolate ruin today. And now, Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, asks you, why are you destroying yourselves? For not one of you will survive, not a man, woman, or child among you who has come here from Judah, not even the babies in your arms. Why provoke my anger by burning incense to the idols you have made here in Egypt? You will only destroy yourselves and make yourselves an object of cursing and mockery for all the nations of the earth. Have you forgotten the sins of your ancestors, the sins of the kings and queens of Judah, and the sins you and your wives committed in Judah and Jerusalem? To this very hour, you have shown no remorse or reverence. No one has chosen to follow my word and the decrees I gave to you and your ancestors before you. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. I am determined to destroy every one of you. I will take this remnant of Judah, those who were determined to come here and live in Egypt, and I will consume them. They will fall here in Egypt, killed by war and famine. All will die, from the least to the greatest. They will be an object of damnation, horror, cursing, and mockery. I will punish them in Egypt, just as I punished them in Jerusalem by war, famine, and disease. Of that remnant who fled to Egypt, hoping someday to return to Judah, there will be no survivors. Even though they long to return home, only a handful will do so. Then all the women present and all the men who knew that their wives had burned incense to idols, a great crowd of all the Judeans living in northern Egypt and southern Egypt, answered Jeremiah, "We will not listen to your message from Yahuwah." The audacity. To death, y'all go then, right? Levon, Shalom, Uncle Nathaniel. Sheesh, look. I mean, they are brazen, bold-faced. I'm going to read this again, verse 15. Then all the women present and all the men who knew that their wives had burned incense to idols, a great crowd of all the Judeans living in northern Egypt and southern Egypt, answered Jeremiah, "We will not listen to your messages from Yahuwah. We will do whatever we want. We will burn incense and pour out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven just as much as we like, just as we and our ancestors and our kings and officials have always done in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem." You can see them like rolling their necks like, "Baby, listen, we gonna keep doing this, right?" I would be standing by. I can imagine the sheer look of horror on Jeremiah's face at this moment, right? We gonna do whatever we wanna do, right? Yo, look, this is appalling. I gotta read it again. I'm gonna go back to 15. Then all the women present and all the men who knew that their wives had burned incense to idols, a great crowd of all the Judeans living in northern Egypt and southern Egypt, answered Jeremiah, "We will not listen to your messages from Yahuwah. We will do whatever we want. We will burn incense and pour out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven, just as much as we like." Remember who the Queen of Heaven is? Semiramis, right? Semiramis is the queen. That's what they're talking about. Queen of Heaven. They mention her in Ephesus in the New Testament as well. Remember? The Queen of Heaven. We learned about the fossilized customs. We broke down who she was. We will burn incense and pour out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven, just as much as we like, just as we and our ancestors and our kings and officials have always done in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For in those days we had plenty to eat, and we were well off and had no troubles. But ever since we quit burning incense to the Queen of Heaven and stopped worshiping her with liquid offerings, we have been in great trouble and have been dying from war and famine. Besides, listen to this. If that one, listen to this. Listen to what the woman said. Besides, the women added, "Do you suppose that we were burning incense and pouring out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven and making cakes marked with her image without our husbands knowing it and helping us? Of course not. They was down for it too." I'm just like, y'all, I read the Bible a whole nother way. Like, I be hearing the voices and everything from all the different people when they be talking. I be seeing the whole scene play out. Like, we still got them writers alive today, right? Then Jeremiah said to all of them, men and women alike, who had given him the answer, "Do you think Yahuwah did not know that you and your ancestors, your kings and officials, and all the people were burning incense to idols in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? Do you think that he didn't know that? It was because Yahuwah could no longer bear all the disgusting things you were doing that he made your land an object of cursing, a desolate ruin without inhabitants, as it is today. All these terrible things happened to you because you burned incense to idols and sinned against Yahuwah. You have refused to obey him and have not followed his instructions, his decrees, and his laws." Then Jeremiah said to them all, including the women, Listen to this message from Yahuwah, all you citizens of Judah who live in Egypt. This is what Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. You and your wives have said, we will keep our promises to burn the incense and pour out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven, and you have proved by your actions that you meant it. So go ahead and carry out your promises and your vows to her. But listen to this message from Yahuwah, all you Judeans now living in Egypt. I have sworn by my great name, says Yahuwah, that my name will no longer be spoken by any of the Judeans living in the land of Egypt. None of you may invoke my name or use this oath, as surely as the sovereign Lord lives. For I will watch over you to bring you disaster and not good. Everyone from Judah who is now living in Egypt will suffer war and famine until all of you are dead. Only a small number will escape death and return to Judah from Egypt. Then all those who came to Egypt will find out whose words were true, mine or theirs. Boom. And this is the proof I give you, says Yahuwah, that all I have threatened will happen to you and that I will punish you here. This is what Yahuwah says. I will turn Pharaoh Hophra, king of Egypt, over to his enemies who want to kill him, just as I had turned King Zedekiah of Judah over to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Kurt, my friend, you here? Oh my gosh, I want to look. Isaiah chapter 19 and 20. That was his question. Explain Isaiah chapter 19 and 20. So real quick, what Yahuwah just said, because they're trying to run back to Egypt. Yahuwah said, Egypt is not going to help you because I'm going to take them right into captivity just like I took your people. Then where will your help be, right? So that's what Isaiah 19 and 20 was talking about. But not just Egypt. It talked about the Ethiopians, Edom, Assyria, all of them, right? And if you read 19 and 20 just by itself, you may get a little, you're not going to see the full story of what was actually happening. You actually have to go back a few chapters before Isaiah chapter 19. I want to say all the way to like 14, because I was looking over it. And it wasn't just Egypt and those other few nations he was talking about. Yahuwah was getting it to everybody, all the nations. He said, I'm sick of all y'all. All y'all is pissing me off, right? Okay, so you have to remember the reason why human beings, you gotta go all the way back and see why Yahuwah is not just pissed with Israel. He's pissed with all, I mean, not like pissed, like he's like this raging mad God. You know what I'm saying? We live on the earth, right? Earth's function is about reproduction, reproducing after your own kind, being plentiful. It's like a place, Earth, all over Earth is like a place of reproduction. Plant kingdom, animal kingdom, human kingdom, different diversities, different everything, right? Yahuwah is it's I'm trying to explain it in like the simplest forms. It just looking around, you can see that Yahuwah is diverse, right? Everything that is him, he has taken all of him and displayed it in all of the earth and all of nature and all of human beings, just like the beautiful colors in my head wrap, right? And all the different colors. That's why you see me a lot of times. I like to be colorful because once I was like, oh man, you love variety, you love colors, right? And once I began to realize that, that's when like nature really began to come alive to me, and all the different species of plants and even animals and how they look different. Even humans, right? We're different. We're humans, but there's different races, if that's even proper word, different races or different classes of human beings. You got black, you got African, you got Caucasian, you got Asian, you got like the Mongolian types. You can even look at the skulls and tell that we're although we are humans, it's like different classes of humans. Just like you can look at plants, there are different classes of plants. Now, I'm going to say something here. I'm going to just throw it out for a quick second. I'm going to leave it alone. But I want you to just go pay attention. Just like you can see all plants don't come from one plant. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to leave it right there. If there are different classes of plants, and that applies everywhere, in the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and the human kingdom, right? We can tell that certain plants don't come from all plants don't originate from one species of plant. When Yahuwah created the earth, he created diversity. He created different kinds. He created different classes. And that is true even about the human species, right? Science will prove and show to you that even our cranials, our skulls are different, which gives proof to that theory, if you want to call it a theory, but you ain't going to argue with nature. We have different skeletal cranial forms. They can tell if scientists were doing some research and all they had was different skeletons or even just the top part of the head of the human beings, they can tell what race you were, right? That's well known, proven fact, right? So I'm saying all that to kind of keep up with where we're at now. Although Yahuwah has chosen Israel, he's chosen Israel to rein in all the other nations, to bring them back to clarity of why we're here, right? Teach you who your creator is, because all the nations have gone astray. All the other nations is worshiping everything or giving homage or thanking everything other than the creator, right? He wants to get the entire human race, all different races of the human race, back to common sense, so to speak, right? Because all the other nations say, we're going to do what we want to do. Go get your laws to somebody else. Go get your manual on how you created this place to somebody else, because we're going to do as thou wilt down here. We're going to figure this out ourselves, and we're going to make our own guideline on how this earth should run, right? No. Okay. Since Israel was the only one, yes, we will take it. We will do, and we will obey. Okay. Here's what I need y'all to do, right? They worshiping trees. They worshiping the sun. They worshiping everything that I created. I need y'all to get their attention. Let them know these are not the things that have given you life. It's me. Like, they ain't listening to me, so I'm giving them something that they can see. You can explain to them, because if we can get them back here, then we can align their spirits right. Then they all can come talk to me face to face, right? They really can, right? They really can, right? So, look. So, if we remember all that, while reading through here, remember, while we're reading from the beginning, everything that we learn, we got to bring it along with us, right? We got to bring it along with us, so we keep everything in its proper context. So when Isaiah chapter 19 and 20, he's getting on Egypt, and he's telling him, he said, you're going to be my people too. And there's going to come a time where you will begin to cry out to me, and you're going to be faithful to me. And not just you, Egypt, but also the wicked Assyrians, they're going to be my people, right? But he's going through the different things. He said, because they're all turning away, each one of them will have different punishments that they will have to expend out. You get it. I'll use that word. There are different consequences for turning away from me and worshiping other things that don't give life, right? Everything was created for its particular purpose, and you can't misuse those things, right? So he calls out each nation, right? All the nations that were present during that time. Like I said, you got to go back a few chapters. Now, I just started Isaiah chapter 19 and 20, because 19 and 20 is just kind of carrying on, repeating some of the same things that's going to happen to Egypt and Assyria and Edom and some of the other places, just like all the other ones. And like I said, you will not just see it there. You can go to Amos, the entire book of Amos, and see the same thing happening. Yahuwah is just calling everybody out. And you can see, if you look at it in versions like the NLT or the Message version, I really love reading the book of Amos in the Message version. Like, it's not hilarious, but it's hilarious to me, because when he started calling out some of the things people are doing, especially when they get to our folk, he said, in Israel, you ain't no better than these other nations. You would sell your grandma for a pair of shoes. I was hollering. Y'all got to read the book of Amos in the Message version, right? So it's the same thing. He's doing the same thing in the book of Amos, calling out all the nations for all the craziness that they're doing. But he said, even at the end of all their foolishness, there'll be a remnant of each set of people who will return to Yahuwah, and he's going to bless them, and they're going to be his people. It's not just going to be Egypt, but other nations will come and join themselves to the truth that he has given to Egypt. And they're going to live like prosperous lives, and they're going to continue to reproduce, right? And so I got into all that to kind of clarify these last two verses here in Jeremiah, what is this, chapter 41, no, I'm sorry, chapter 44, verse 29. And he said, and this is the proof I will give you, says Yahuwah, that all I have threatened will happen to you, and that I will punish you there. This is what Yahuwah says, I will turn Pharaoh Hophra, king of Egypt, over to his enemies who want to kill him, just as I turned King Zedekiah of Judah over to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. So it don't matter who you try and run to, you run into them to be your safe haven and your God. And when you get there, you're going to find out just how much of a God they are not. Because that war, famine, disease, and captivity is still chasing you. So it's going to happen there. You're going to bring that same catastrophe on this place as well. Think about Jonah, right? Everybody was okay in that boat until Jonah got up there. When he was running from Yah, that catastrophe that was following him because he wouldn't keep to the commands began to affect the entire ship, right? And they was like, no, we don't want to throw you off the side, Jonah. And he was, everybody else pray to your God. Then they realized, they drew straws and everything. Wait a minute. Jonah definitely is the cause of the uproar here in this place. But we don't want to throw him over the side. And finally, it got too bad. They said, Father, forgive us. Clearly, you were the only God that is powerful enough to do anything. You about to tip our whole ship over because this man is running from you. First of all, forgive us. We should have been worshiping you. You got power like this. And forgive us for this man's blood. Please let it not be on our hands, as they was tossing him over to the side and everything calmed down, right? So no matter where you go, if you are keeping the commands, where you go, peace will follow you. If you are a vagabond, that turmoil and that strife will follow you, and it will cause an uproar to everywhere you go. It's going to single you out. All right. Jeremiah chapter 45, a message for Baruch. The prophet Jeremiah. Y'all, let me say this one thing. Y'all ever had somebody come into your house where chaos followed their lives, and they come into your atmosphere and immediately disrupt the atmosphere of your home? You like, what, the kids start acting crazy? Like, your kids be acting crazy, but it's like the normal crazy that y'all know is crazy, but it's a peaceful kind of crazy. But when you add somebody outside crazy into your peaceful crazy, it really begins to go off the wall. I was like, what in the world is going? Wait, what is y'all doing? Wait, hold on. Come here, little boy. Come here. Wait. What was y'all doing before y'all got here? It changed like the whole app. It's that same principle that's happening. We've had it happen quite a few times. I said, look, they need to go. They didn't hurry up and get about it. I don't know what they doing out there, but it just disrupt the entire atmosphere. And they were like, fine. They weren't like arguing or anything like that. But it's just like a presence that followed them, right? And if you're not paying attention, it's crazy. Shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. The chapter 45 of Jeremiah is only 5 verses, and then we'll be done. A message for Baruch. The prophet Jeremiah gave a message to Baruch, son of Neriah, in the 4th year of the reign of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, after Baruch had written down everything Jeremiah had dictated to him. He said, this is what Yahuwah, the God of Israel, says to you, Baruch. You have said, I am overwhelmed with trouble. Haven't I had enough pain already? And now Yahuwah has added more. I am worn out from sighing and can find no rest. Baruch, this is what Yahuwah says. I will destroy this nation that I built. I will uproot what I planted. Are you seeking great things for yourself? Don't do it. I will bring great disaster upon all these people, but I will give you your life as a reward wherever you go. I, Yahuwah, have spoken. And that is our reading for today. That was Isaiah chapter 43, 44, and 45. All right, y'all. Fossilized Customs, where we left off at. Let's pick it up. Page 271. Okay, y'all. Here we go. The Torah and Paul. You know, it's a small little portion in here about Paul. I thought I was about to get into, because I went over it. When I just saw it, I'm like, okay, they about to get into a whole lot of the shenanigans. Some of the things that, with Paul and some of the things he said, but it's not right here. It's just this little small blurb. Okay. The Torah and Paul. Okay, so we were talking Friday. The last section is going over like a strong delusion, what it is, right? And how people, the title of it is mesmerized by a strong delusion, and it kind of just went through different things on how you're asleep, right? And how to wake yourself up from strong delusion. The only way to wake yourself up from the strong delusion, even the strong delusion of Christianity, is actually to go read the laws of Yah, right? It's the only way. You can't just read it once and think you woke. No, you have to read it over and over. You need to spend just as much time putting Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands, reading over it. You need to spend that same amount of time, if not more, than you did with the New Testament. At least that has to be your thinking. As I spent all my life reading the New Testament, now I'm going to go in, I'm going to spend just as much time reading the Old Testament, Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands. But here is a beautiful thing, right? When you begin to read, and I'm just telling you from my own personal experience, when you begin to read the law, statutes, and commands of Yah with the intentions, okay, y'all, clearly I'm doing something wrong. Whatever you say, yes, I'm going to do, yes, I'm going to obey. What you're going to find out is, at least from my personal experience and from hearing other people's experience, but actually going back here, when you go into it with that mind frame, we're trying to find out what Yah is saying, not everybody else. He puts you on this fast track of learning and understanding, and then being able to open your eyes to truth and error, even some of the error, a lot of the error that has not only just been added to the New Testament, but also in the Old Testament as well. You really begin to decipher his voice, how he acts, how he moves, how he responds to different situations. You begin to realize that begins to happen to you. You begin to recognize that. And people that don't do that, they just don't get it. It's like we can try and talk to them till they blue in the face, but if they just look, Jesus fulfilled everything. All we need is the words of Jesus. If they have that mindset, they will never understand what we're talking about. It's like we'll be speaking Hebrew and they'll be speaking English, and they can't understand. No matter how much they try, they cannot, because their heart, they have no intentions on seeing what Yahuwah says. They think they're content with Jesus paid it all, right? Not saying that their thinking is wrong, but their thinking is wrong, right? And if you have that thinking, like, okay, even in that, okay, Jesus paid it all. Let's go with that theory. Jesus paid it all, but what did he pay for, right? And how did he know he had to come pay for something? Did he find this out from somebody else? So there has to be somebody other than him. Okay, let's find that out. That's clearly back here, right? Okay, but then we find out Yahuwah said, look, I sent you away and I didn't get paid anything. So I'm going to come redeem you without paying. And Yahuwah said that almost word for word. I'm going to come redeem you without having to pay a dime for you. Matter of fact, that's the title of one of the videos where we talked about that. When we brought it out in the book of Isaiah, when he said, I sent you off into captivity and I didn't receive payment for you. So when I come get you, I'm not going to pay a dime for you, right? You belong to me. When I'm ready to come get you, I'll come get you. And I'm going to come get you free of charge, right? Because nobody paid me a dime for you, right? When I sent you as their help to go do everything, right? So if we don't understand that, it's like when we don't have the mindset to just go, we think that that's it, that's enough, that's just gonna be it for you. That's nothing that anybody else says is going to be able to prick you to be like, well, let me just check into what they're saying. You will literally go to your grave fighting defending JC, Yeshua, Yahusha, all these things over here. You're defending Paul and everybody else without going back to check if they line up with what Yahuwah said, right? It's just impossible for them to understand. So when you go back with the intentions, okay, y'all, okay, I know what they're saying. I think that's the truth. I guess it's done me good up until this point, but I'm gonna just do a little bit of fact checking on JC and Paul and all of them, and just see. I'm gonna come back to the authority, because if they repeating you, why should I just constantly listen to them repeat you? Why not come see what you said firsthand? That's how I look at it. Okay, y'all listening to regurgitated information. Okay, maybe they walked it out. Maybe they did. Good and well. But if we have the source of the origination of the information, why not just, we got it? We can, what did he say? Oh, he said that. Oh, wait, what? Oh, y'all ain't supposed to be doing that. Paul. What's this? Y'all, he said don't do that. Okay, please justify how you doing that when he said right here, don't do this. And that's where we get on the outskirts with Paul. Y'all gonna do this, but Yahuwah said do this. And that's why we got problems, right? So that's what happens. There's another learning curve that begins to happen for those who actually pick up the Torah, right? Not saying that it's perfect, because it's been chopped and screwed with a lot of different things. But if you read it with the intentions of finding Yah, you will find him. But you will also find the leaven that's been mixed and added into the loaf, and he will help you to decipher it and to separate it. Truth, this is truth, this is error. I said this, they added the last half of this sentence to my words. I didn't say this. Go on, chop that off, get rid of that, right? So that begins to happen to you, and you begin to understand, and it's like you went into it with the thinking that even if I have to spend the last half of my life studying the Torah, just like I spent the first half of my life studying the New Testament, I'm going to do it. But when you do that, when you actually heartfelt about that, and you go into it looking for Yah and going to study his words just like you did that, he begins to speed you up through time. And within about a year's time, you have learned way more in just the last year than you have learned all your life being in a church, sitting under the New Testament teachers. And it is amazing, and you can see through their teachings. And I'm just telling y'all from personal experience, and it will blow your mind. Yahuwah will teach you himself. It's crazy how it happens, right? And that's just from my personal experience, and by me listening to other people who have actually done this. The only way to break delusion in your life is to read the words of Yah. Read the words of truth. What is truth? Oh Yah, your Torah is truth. Your instructions is truth, right? I don't know why people so afraid to go back there, because I don't know. Some may know it's going to start shaking some stuff that I done set my life on. This foundation is going to start shaking that it looks, well, everything that can be shaken should be shaken, right? Do you want to keep living the rest of your life on shaky foundation, not wondering if this is the day that the house is going to crumble and you might be caught inside of it and may not have help to get out? You're going to die in the rubble, right? Don't you want that? Don't you want inspectors to come through and check, right? I definitely want inspectors checking the bridges that I drive over almost every day. I want to make sure they ain't gun decking their watches, because what if a real bad storm happened and I happen to be driving across that bridge and a good wind come through and knock something loose? Then everybody that's on that bridge possibly may end up in the water. How many people going to be able to make it out their cars alive? How many people can swim, right? How many people could make it out of people who can't swim, panicking, pulling you down? It's going to be a catastrophe. Don't you want inspectors coming, checking the foundations, looking at stuff? That's what the Torah does. That's what Yahuwah's words of truth. It goes in searching with a flashlight. No, get that out of there. It's an inspection station. Boy. Okay. Page 271. The Torah and Paul. Paul kept believing and keeping the law of Yahuwah. Acts chapter 24 through 14. But this I confess to you, that according to the way which they call a sect, so I worship the Elohim of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and the prophets. Acts 25 and 8. While he answered for himself, neither against the law of Yahudim, nor against the temple, nor against Kaiser, have I offended in anything at all. Acts chapter 18:21. But took leave of them, saying, I must by all means keep this coming feast in Jerusalem, but I will return to you again, you who are willing. And he sailed from Ephesus. Okay, so he just put these 3 scriptures in there from Paul, and that's supposed to show us that he kept to the Torah. Okay, the next section is should we proclaim the name? Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 9. Whenever I said, let me not mention him, nor speak in his name again, it was in my heart like a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I became weary of holding it back and was helpless. And we read that a few days ago in Jeremiah. Psalm chapter 118. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Think of the way you live and who you serve as more of a government than a religion. It will put a better perspective on things. There's authority, jurisdiction, behavior, policy, process, and a governed body. May you escape the boxes built by men, freed by the truth, the covenant between the creator of all things and humankind. The covenant is the truth. It is the word of Yahuwah. Okay, this next section is the beast and the anti-Mashiach. Scripture reveals 4 beasts. The first beast, Babylon, the kingdom of Nimrod, gives life to another beast which follows. The beast, or animals, dogs, is the entire pagan teaching authority in rebellion against the Torah, the covenant of love between Yahuwah and Israel. It is the reign of Babel to fall when Yahuwah sets up his reign. The beast is described in stages or avatars over time, expanding and growing in power all over the earth. It is given power and great authority to reign and teach by the dragon. And we see this, if you're familiar with the book of Daniel, the famous chapter where Nebuchadnezzar has this dream and it's this big statue. That statue represents the different kingdoms over the period of time. Yeah, I did 2 videos on that link. He brought up he made a comment about truth unveiled, which we're not gonna get into today. You'll see how I feel about it. We don't believe that's true. We don't agree with truth unveiled on that. But we did 2 videos. If you didn't see those videos, link go back last week and you'll see the first one I did. And then the second one I did because somebody else asked me a question. The first video I did, I had on black. The second video I did, I had on a blue head wrap. So go back and you can kind of get there. You can see what we believe, which we don't agree with truth unveiled. Okay. It is the reign of Babel to fall. It is the reign of Babel to fall when Yahuwah sets up his reign. The beast is described in stages or avatars over time, expanding and growing in power all over the earth. It is given power and great authority to reign and teach by the dragon. These are the 3 ways to get involved with the beast: receiving the number, receiving the name, giving homage to the image, right? The number may indicate the way we are programmed to measure time. The word measure in Hebrew is many, M-E-N-E, which we see that in the book of Dan, right? Many, tekel parson, right? The word measure in Hebrew is many and is equivalent to number. The calendar involves this sentence looks wrong. The calendar involves to this numbering, calculating. The first beast is Nimrod's kingdom. Babel, as we learn from the books of Genesis and Daniel. This head, the first beast, actually received a fatal wound because of Noah's son Shem slew Nimrod. And they give the reference Revelation chapter 13 verses 12 through 14. On an abstract level, a deadly wound occurred when the head or the papacy was wounded by the Reformation. The nobility turned away from the teaching authority of the head of the Catholic circus. Although the head was no longer obeyed, those protesting the head's authority remained Catholic in their beliefs and practices. The image is both concrete and abstract. The old image of the obelisk and the cross are combined together, becoming the pillar steeple. Traditions blind everyone so that witchcraft is not perceived. Shaitan or Satan has programmed religious behavior based on the pattern or the form or the image of worshiping Nimrod, his wife, and child. Clearly, we talked about that today when we was reading Jeremiah. Remember, the woman was like, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing, worshiping the Queen of Heaven, and our husbands was there, and they still going to be there with us while we doing it, right? We read that. Those are my words, but that's Jeremiah chapter 44. They was actually talking about this, right? Satan has programmed religious behavior based on the pattern, the former image of worshiping Nimrod, his wife, and child. This has carried on through cultures over time, so the original pattern is still expressed, the reign of Babel or the beast authority. Revelation chapter 13 says, in order to determine the number of the beast, one must have wisdom. And what is that wisdom? And in parentheses, he puts it, Torah, right? Because as you begin to read the words of Yah, begin to read the words of Torah and have it just kind of wash through your soul, have it cleanse your soul as it washes through foul, disrespectful, disgusting teachings, as it washes all of that out of you, you begin to see the truth as it truly is and how Yahuwah has said it, right? Authority has passed through the Sargon rulers, Persia's Shahs, the pharaohs, Caesars, Kaisers, Caesars, popes, and numerous tyrants of the recent past. The framework this beast system, or the reign of Babel, imposes itself. The framework this beast system imposes on its. Hold on, I'm reading this too fast. Okay. The wording is wrong, but I get what it's saying. It said the framework that this beast system is imposing on the world. What? Let me read it like it say. Listen. The framework this beast system, and in parentheses it has reign of Babel, which is letting you know that's what the beast system is, the reign of Babel. The framework this beast system, reign of Babel, imposes itself on the world by the calendar. It's missing a word. It's saying it's using the calendar to impose its system on the world. That's what it's saying, but the wording is wrong. It's using the framework of the beast system is dictated by the calendar that they've created, right? And we've talked about this a lot. The pagan calendar with Christmas and changing of times. That's how the beast system is imposing itself on all the nations with the help of this calendar that they have created and changed and over time, right? Okay. If this calendar is taken away, the whole beast system falls in one day. And clearly we can see that just by what we've learned from Yahuwah's calendar and trying to line everything back up according to his fixed calendar, while the Babylonian calendar is moving all over the place. While it's moving, we have to keep what Yahuwah has said to keep, like the Sabbath, we have to keep it fixed in its place. While this is moving, in order to keep it fixed on Yahuwah's calendar, this is Yahuwah's calendar, fixed, unmovable, right? From the foundations, creation of the world. This is the Babylonian system's calendar that's been toyed with and superimposed over Yahuwah's calendar, right? So whenever the Sabbath falls, because Yahuwah's calendar is fixed, it would move on this ever-moving, ever-changing Babylonian calendar. So we have to find that day and put it on its proper day back here in Yahuwah's calendar on the seventh day, and we have to keep it, right? So we would keep it steady on Yahuwah's calendar, but it would seem to rotate on this calendar that the world is following, right? That makes sense. I've done enough Sabbath videos for y'all to get that. Let's try to explain it again. So keeping the Sabbath on the calendar that we were currently on, it would seem to rotate. Matter of fact, it has to rotate days in order to keep it fixed on the calendar that they have removed us from. You have to learn both calendars, the fixed calendar and how it stays fixed. And in order to keep it fixed, you gotta, as the clock, the dial is moving, like an analog clock, a regular clock. You see, ooh, that's a good example. Look. Okay, hold on, let me see. Okay, let me use my watch. Maybe y'all can see this. But y'all get it if I explain. Okay, so, oh, wait, it's too bright. Okay, the circle just brightened up. Y'all can't see it. But anyway, inside of here, I can see it, but y'all can't. It just look like a bright light. At least to me, I'm not sure if y'all can see it. But anyway, this is a regular clock, right? So with the regular clock, you got the 12, and then you got the 1, 2, all the way back around to the 12, right? Those are numbers. That is fixed time. So you can say that the fixed time, the 12, all of that, the fixed time represents Yahuwah's fixed time clock. Like those numbers never move. They're always in position. And the calendar that we follow, the Gregorian, as it's named today, the Gregorian calendar, would be like the hands moving around. They constantly move, constantly changing. But in the background, Yahuwah's is always fixed. So in order to know what time it truly is, when we look at these moving hands, we have to look at the numbers on the back to line it up properly, so we can keep Yahuwah's feast days and time according to the way he said to keep it, right? And we can use the sun, the moon, and the stars to do that. Matter of fact, the time on our clocks, on our watches, actually dictate the clock in the sky, right? So if you don't understand that, there's some geniuses that figured it out, and they put it in mobile form, and now you can tell it. Although you may not understand it, they're still moving by the witnesses in the sky, the sun, moon, and the stars, which they cannot screw with, right? So even though you may not understand it, you're kind of still operating by it. And they give you a whole nother calendar along with Yahuwah's time that keeps you all screwed up, right? Okay, so let's go back here. We are watching hold on. I think I skipped something. Let me just go back up here. Authority has passed through the Sargon rulers, Persia's Shahs, the Pharaohs, Caesars, Kaisers, Caesars, popes, and numerous tyrants of the recent past. The framework that this beast system is imposing on the world is by its calendar. If this calendar is taken away, the whole beast system falls in one day. Daniel's vision describes the 4 beasts. The 4th one is Rome, which will remain until the time of the end. We are watching the fulfillment of the parable of the prodigal son occurring right now. The older son represents the house of Judah, now called Jews, and the younger son represents all those who left the covenant many generations ago and became lost by their assimilation into the Gentiles. The lost tribes are all over the earth, but this lost son comes to his senses and realizes who he really is. In parentheses, it has remembers. He realizes or he remembers who he really is. If you look at Ezekiel chapter 37, Jeremiah chapter 3, Jeremiah chapter 31, Acts chapter 15, and Ephesians chapter 3, you will see that there are 2 houses of Israel. These represent the 2 sons in the parable. One remained with the father, held to the covenant, and no longer remembers his younger brother. The lost brother has multiplied exceedingly among the Gentiles, but awakens to the fact that he is worshiping or eating with pigs, or pagans, unclean dogs, those who rebel against the covenant. Reading this parable, you will see that the father has to explain to the older brother who the younger brother is. The lost younger brother repents and begins to obey the father again, making his older brother jealous of the attention given to the younger brother over this. We are witnessing the events sealed in Scripture unfold before our eyes. Satan has programmed the entire world to be waiting for someone named Jesus. Christian, Islam, Hindu, and New Age humanists are all waiting for the coming of this special deliverer. Matria means Lord of Love. And to the hierarchy or New World Order crowd, this Mashiach will be a great teacher they have been waiting for. He is represented as the laughing Buddha in Eastern philosophy. Non-Christians and Christians alike will see what they want to see when he appears on the world stage. Non-Christians and Christians alike will see what they want to see when he appears on the world stage. The diverse points of view among mankind will converge on this anti-Mashiach, and each observer will be blinded by their own biases, right? I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't believed it. Even demons believe, but not obey. Hold on. Even demons. Did I say that? Hold on. Let me look up James chapter, because I think he added an extra word in here. I gotta look up this. Tootie, do you gotta get up? Mom. Yes, baby. Let me see. Hold on, let me look at this. James 2. Hold on.
I will take these out.
Okay, yeah, because I know when I was in the New Testament, I know the book of James like the back of my hand. That's wrong what he put in here. Look, okay, because he put even demons believe but not obey. That's the opposite of what it said. Maybe that's a typo. Did again, I don't know, right? We checking for leaven everywhere, even in his book, right? It's James chapter 2:19. What James chapter 2:19 says, even, okay, I'll keep it in context. It says, but someone will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I'll show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. Right? So this, keeping that in context, they're saying, don't just blindly believe, right? Even the book of James telling them, don't just go on believing stuff without having works that follow and all that stuff, right? You believe and don't do nothing. I believe and I'm doing something, right? If you believe that you're going to get a job, you praying, Father, give me a job, and you just go about your day and don't do nothing. I'm doing the same prayer, Father, give me a job, but I'm getting online, I'm filling out applications, I'm going, excuse me, I filled out an application, I'm calling, excuse me, I filled out an application. You have an application I can fill out? Are you guys hiring? I believe I'm going to get a job. And since I believe that, I'm going to make sure that my works line up with what I believe. Because I ain't going to get a job, first of all, if I ain't put an application somewhere, right? Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe, and they're talking about Yahuwah being one God now. In the New Testament now, they talking about Yahuwah being one, not these multiple ones that this Trinity that people are worshiping. James was talking about this. Even the demons believe that there is one God, and they shut up, right? Okay, I had to read because I knew, wait a minute, he got a typo on this book. I just had to check that I knew, because James and John was my book. Okay, I'm going to put typo. Okay. Our worship is obedience, the doing of what Yahuwah expects of us. If we neglect doing what he expects of us, but assumes our intentions will serve the same results, then we didn't understand the fall, the golden calf incident, or why Cain's offering was not pleasing to Yahuwah. Intentions don't matter if you're drunk, and most people are. What did you come out your mouth? You lied. I'll cook in a second. Okay. And so that's true. Most people are drunk, right? They're drunk with the wine of intoxication of false doctrine that they are receiving from the multiple different nations, right? Okay. If you do well, shall you not be accepted? Genesis chapter 4:7. Cain made up his own mind how he was going to worship Yahuwah and what would be the offering. All the Sunday assemblies, Christmas trees, and Easter baskets in the world will not be acceptable to Yahuwah unless he prescribes them as a form of worshiping him. Our task is to find out what Yahuwah expects and then do well so that he will accept our worship. Then we can expect to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Matthew chapter 25, verse 21. Doing the word is obeying him, not adding to it or taking away from it or mixing in the pagan culture of Rome as tradition has done. And we're right there at the hour mark, and we're going to pause right here today, y'all, because my children, they're getting up and they already start. They hungry. I got to cook. My husband be down here in a second, too. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let me mark my page. 273. Kurt, did you come in yet? I don't know. I said I was going to ask again. And so I can kind of repeat it for him, answer his question about Isaiah 19 and 20. If not, but I believe it's actually Kurt who was in the UK. And he was saying on another message to me, he was in a different time. So I think that was Kurt. So he may not be here. I'm talking to YouTube and Facebook, Tootie. Well, I'm not talking to Facebook and you. I'm actually talking to people, and we're using Facebook and YouTube as a medium to communicate back and forth. That's the proper way of saying that. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. See, because they all coming down. All right. Today is Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is August the 1st, 2021.
Mom.
Yes, baby girl.
Keep out her.
Huh?
About her.
Oh, her. Mom, she pointing to your picture. That's Nani. You recognize the picture, don't you?
Her trying to come down.
She's trying to come down. She'll be down here soon. Hey. She'll be down here soon. Okay, y'all. We read Jeremiah chapter 43, 44, and 45. We read Fossilized Customs, page 271 to page 273. It is day 221 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 890. All right, y'all. Hold on. Do me a favor. Well, Tootie, I guess you can stay here because we're about to end it. Let's go ahead and do the blessing, y'all. Nani said, hey, Bella. Look, right there. You see? And she blew you a kiss. Say, hey, Nani. Don't act like that, man. I know, right? She needs some lip gloss. Give her some.
You want to say hi?
Lick your lips, girl. Lick your lips. Don't lie. I know, right? Some Vaseline. Slapping these lips up. Okay. Sorry, y'all.
You ain't come in my room.
Gotta have sis looking right. Okay, let's pull up this blessing, y'all. Before they start with these shenanigans, Isaiah behind me. Hold on. All right. Blessing. All right, y'all. Remember the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember the first 21 verses of Numbers is the Nazarite vow. Man or woman can take it. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying on this wise, ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, may Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. See, y'all? We had to end it right here. Wait, don't end it yet. Sheesh. Let me finish my outro. Dang. Yes. Nani said, hey, Zay. Okay, y'all.
Hi, Nani.
All right, y'all. Let me, hold on. Oh, this comment from Thailand earlier said they're even saying don't go to the emergency room unless you're having a heart attack or a stroke. Oh, this is from your comment earlier. You told me that the cases of COVID were rising in Florida. Yeah. Guys, if y'all know better, if y'all get like a little cough or something, I'm telling you, do it naturally. I'm not a medical doctor, neither am I giving medical advice or anything, but from my own personal experience, you can get that out of your body yourself, right? Fast, right? Water fast for a couple of days. If water fasting is, wait a minute, Bella, if water fasting is too hard for you, here's a little trick. If you dry fast, meaning you don't drink anything or eat anything, it's really easy to get through at least one, possibly 2, definitely 3, if you do it enough. without, and you're not going to die. But what's happening is you're not starting your digestive system, and while you're doing that, since if you understand that while you sleep, the majority of your healing is happening while your digestive system is not activated, you're sleeping. It's the same process that's happening. So if you don't start your digestive system in the morning by waking it up with water or with food, the healing process that was happening overnight, stop Isaiah, will continue throughout the day of dry fasting. If you absolutely can't dry fast, add water. If you need something a little more than that, try coconut water. If you need a little bit more than that, try freshly squeezed juice, preferably orange juice. You can mix it, do oranges, grapefruit, like a half a lemon, add just a little bit of ginger, and you can put some beets in it. That's called the juice is called Morning Glory. It is amazing. It will bust up anything going on inside of your body. If you don't have all of those, and if you just got one, use just the one. Your body will recover so much faster than it would if you were putting a bunch of other stuff in your body, like antibiotics and stuff. It's helping one thing, but it's killing another thing. Sometimes they're absolutely needed, especially if you made it just too far down into your sickness where you need outside help. So sometimes people just kind of need antibiotics or other things. But our body has like these check engine lights, right? Where we feel like little pains or little sniffling and stuff. When you see that, go juice or fast for a day. You can help kick these things out if you're conscious of what your body is doing ahead of time. If you're paying attention to it, and what is happening will never get a chance to fully develop inside of your body, right? So just just something I've learned over the years of being plant-based and fasting, doing different types of fasts and everything. So, but yeah, they I was watching the news. There's some cases they kind of running back up here too, Thailand. So, but yeah, what's crazy is some people they be doing okay till they go to the hospital, and then it seems like when they go to the hospital they get worse. I don't know what's going on with all that. I got my theories, but I keep my theories to myself before they disable my channel. I touched on it a little bit one time and they gave me a strike. We watching you, girl. You better stop it. We gonna kill. Not that I care, but I don't want to do something foolish where I can kind of code word stuff and I kind of code word stuff. But I don't want to do something foolish knowing I'm going against their thing when I can say it in another way and still be able to read the Torah live daily. So, we'll do this as long as we can until they cut me off completely, right? So trying to sidestep some of the other things that people are doing to get they're blatantly getting their channels torn down. I'm just like, man, you should have known that, right? So we'll keep speaking truth. We're not watering down the truth, and we'll give y'all wisdom and code words, things that we need to code, we'll code it, right? All right, y'all, we're going. I'm just chatting now.
Mom,
all right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll let you do it too. No. She gonna holler. She gonna holler. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Which one you want to let him do? This one? Okay. All right. Wait. You can do this one because you got to press this button twice for YouTube. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all Monday morning, bright and early. 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Got it, Mom.
Yep.